Episode 274. Today we're talking about some standouts between Vegas and Colorado yesterday. Originally, I was going to talk about Dallas and Vancouver because that was just an absurd game and how that whole thing transpired. But I really want to touch on these two teams because I think they're just absolutely dynamic. Like two teams anybody can learn from, two teams tactically that anybody can learn from. They're so exciting to watch, they're so dynamic to watch. They're almost clones of one another in terms of how they play and how they play stylistically. Just really entertaining all around game. And we saw Vegas go up 2-0 early on the second period with Colorado working their way back into it. We saw Val Nichushkin got that goal, and then Jimmy VC scored his first as an av. I think this was a pretty balanced game overall from both sides. Like the tempo was there on both sides. There were times where Vegas was taking control. There was times where Colorado was taking control. I think I noticed it a little bit more on Colorado's side just because I don't know if it was the altitude or just something else related to that, but I noticed how Vegas early on in the game, they were trying to, even though they were up, they were still trying to create a lot of different situations and try to create offensively. And it was a little bit difficult for them. But I thought they found their stride throughout the middle and latter parts of the game. That's where they really were able to get more comfortable and settled in. And with Colorado, I think outside of Nichushkin and Jimmy VC, I mean, obviously Nathan McKinnon once again, I've talked about him endlessly, it feels like. And I think what McKinnon does so unique is the way he uses his stops and starts. I think every time we see Nathan McKinnon on the ice, we're going to expect something out of him. And that's just the way he plays. He's an elite player. There's high expectations for him, and there's high expectations for how he's going to produce points in games. So, he was shooting the puck a ton. Like when he gets going, and I think one of the things he does really well is when he gets shots on early in the game and he gets comfortable with the game early on, I think the rest of the game is just up from there. Like he cannot go down. He can only go up. So if he's creating something from the very start of the game, his trajectory is only going up. He's only looking to get better throughout the game and he's only looking to improve. I think that's the unique quality when it comes to him because I've micro analyzed his game so much in depth that I'm like, what really separates him from other players? And it's really hard to distinguish because every elite player, I mean, they have the hockey sense, the puck skills, the elite awareness, the creativity. Like everybody and every elite player has those things. But what makes McKinnon different? I think the unique intangible thing that makes him different is what I just mentioned because like I said, when he gets comfortable with the game very early on, he's getting a shot off, or he's getting a puck on net, or he's deking through a defender. His game does not get worse. It literally no one can stop him too, and it's amazing. I think sometimes you can see with guys like Kucherov and McDavid, sometimes even Draisaitl. I would say less of Draisaitl this year though. I would say more McDavid, like Kucherov, Pastrnak, some of those top guys, some of those top end guys. Those are just guys that are coming to my head right now, and 100 point scorers that where they can slightly fade away into the game. Like they can still start really well early on the game, but then they can kind of fade away a little bit throughout the game and diminish a little bit, but not too much. With McKinnon, what I see from him is how he just ramps it up. Like he'll start the game strong and somehow he'll get even stronger as the game goes on in terms of how he uses his shots, in terms of how he's manipulating defenders, in terms of how he's maneuvering pressure, like those type of things. I think that's what really makes him stand out and he's really unique in that sense where his gear, he can start from like 40 or 50 in terms of his gear and he can only go up to 100 from there. Like it's crazy. But I honestly, I don't think I've seen Nathan McKinnon have a good start and then have a worse end of the game. Like I don't think I've ever seen it. It's crazy, but it's just the way he plays, and we're so used to seeing that on a nightly basis, it becomes regularity with him now and consistent. And then on Vegas' side, I think Riley Smith was very effective once again. I think he's been a great and very obvious fit for this team, just going back to Vegas. And I don't think he really ever wanted to leave or they wanted to let him go in the first place. I think him coming back there now just makes total sense. I would not be surprised if he spends the rest of his career in Vegas. I just think that he's been so solidified as a player there, and he's played his best hockey in Vegas. And I think you might as well keep him there if he's playing his best hockey in Vegas. And same goes for William Karlsson. I think William Karlsson and Riley Smith are two potential Golden Knights for a longer period of time, not just for where they're at now, but I think they could be Golden Knights for much longer, especially Riley Smith. But William Karlsson is just a guy who has added creativity to his game. He's added layers into his game over time, ever since being an expansion pick years ago. It's hard to believe it's been 8 years since that. But William Karlsson's just he fits the Golden Knights system really well, like tactically in terms of how he's competing for pucks, how he's working to get pucks back. And the thing is, early on in his career, he was a hard-working checking style center. So the thing is, when he's become more of a quality playmaker and more of a quality goal scorer over the course of his career, he hasn't lost his competitive drive and he hasn't lost that tenacity, which is something that really stands out to me. Like I would much rather have a player who starts out more in that realm and then over time adapts his game and then doesn't lose the compete. I think that's the type of player that's going to bring you consistency. That's the type of player who's going to bring you an all-around effort. A guy who's a natural center who can play the position so well too, has gotten so much better throughout his career at draws. Like there's so many things that William Karlsson tangibly has improved at, and I think that makes him really unique and makes him stand out in that sense. And I've really liked his game ever since, like I said, joining the Knights back in 2017. He's been a great fit there. And I would imagine he's going to be there even longer than he is now. And then Pavel Dorofeyev, I've really liked his game this year. I think he's always been noticeable in every game I've watched of Vegas. His compete off the puck, his work ethic to get pucks back, his ability to get inside position, really good as a goal scorer. I think that's his best attribute. And I would not be surprised to see that scoring ability if he's able to hit 30 or maybe even 40. I mean, maybe 40 is a bit of a stretch for where he's at right now. It's, but I don't think with anyone on Vegas you can count them out, especially with how they took a bunch of guys early on in their first season and basically made them premier top six players. So I think anything can really happen with Pavel Dorofeyev, honestly, in terms of how they've developed players previously. And I would not count him out to be at least a 35 goal scorer. It sounds crazy to me when I'm saying it off the top of my head right now, but I honestly I don't think it's that crazy long term, especially if he continues to score at the rate he's been and if he continues to get better and his trajectory continues to improve over his time with Vegas. I'd be curious to see how that transpires and how everything happens there. And then Brett Howden, a guy who brings a ton of speed, an all-around work ethic, and he brings really underrated offensive ability. He's having a career year offensively and in goals as well. He's played really well as a goal scorer. I think he's been really good as a middle six style player for this team as well. Really underrated addition when you look at all the forwards that they have, the high skill forwards and the high speed wingers that they have. I think Brett Howden's a really underrated player inside that middle six, top nine style role. He was just driving the net fearlessly yesterday. He was attacking so well and he was just creating a lot of havoc in and around the net. So he was doing a great job throughout this game as well.